swear a lot of Disney parks merch content is just creators being like, oh my god, there's this like Chip and Dale sweatshirt that's been sold out forever, but I heard reports that it's in the Emporium, so we're gonna go find it. Come on, let's go. Ooh, first gotta stop for a Mickey pretzel. You know, it's all that. So I was in Walt Disney World recently. Yes, I'm a Disney adult. Keep it low key. I have a lot of really special nostalgic memories in Disney with my family, and throughout my 20s and like college, I was definitely a Disney parks nerd, if you will. I've cooled off a little bit on it because of certain decisions made by the company, and then also just like a lot of really bananas price gouging that is going on. But it was really, really fun and special to go on a sort of nostalgic, longer Disney trip with my family. We had a great time. It was to celebrate my dad's birthday. It was very sweet. I got to meet my favorite lavender, non-binary coded dragon, Figment. Got to ride the new Tiana's Bayou Adventure in Magic Kingdom, which replaced Splash Mountain. I did enjoy some Dole Whip. Enjoyed a really notable and exquisite Oreo milkshake at this little, hole in the wall. Nothing's hole in the wall in the Disney. At this little spot in Disney owned by one Guy Fieri called Chicken Guy. I really hold Oreo milkshakes in like a special place in my heart, and this one was absolutely bomb. And I even bought this little cutie lavender elephant figurine in the China Pavilion in Epcot. I think she's so cute. If you have watched the channel before, you know how much I love elephants. So I saw her and she was like $7 or something. So grabbed that. I kind of want her to be my channel mascot. I think we should name her Clove. However, as always, I was also thinking about the work I do on this channel while I was in Disney. And not just how odd it felt to be in a bubble of like happiness and joy and positivity while everything continued to happen that's happening in the world. Because trust me, I really felt that. Really thought about it a lot. And it felt almost like dystopian to like, you know, go ride Dumbo while something else unravels or breaks or... But when I wasn't thinking about that or having fun, I was also thinking about mindful consumption while I was at Disney. It's interesting because the way Disney parks fan culture has developed, merch has become as important, if not more important at times, than the rides you actually do at Disney. Like the reason you allegedly go to Disney World. Long lines are no longer just for rides. They're also for popcorn buckets, Spirit jerseys, Loungefly backpack, pins, etc., etc. If Disney is able to superimpose a character or turn a plastic object into something that resembles a beloved fictional object from a movie, Disney will do it and people will react. I don't know if accordingly is a word, but they will sure build up the hype around it. And one of the things I've been wanting to do on this channel is not just have it be so hyper-fixated on makeup and talk about kind of things that happen outside of makeup and how they relate to makeup and how makeup can relate to them. Makeup is often my personal kryptonite when it comes to a shopping problem, when it comes to over-consuming or buying too much. And I feel like in the past, I've made it in my mind like the toxic tendencies or intense desires I have with makeup are just locked into makeup and can't kind of be transferred to other things. And while I was in Disney, I realized that a lot of those traits that I associate solely with makeup can very much transfer to other things like Disney and Disney merch. I realized that I overshopped a lot with Disney merch in my 20s. Like I said, I went to the parks a good bit then, both with family and like friends. I made it obviously to Disney World, but then also to Disneyland California and even Disneyland Paris. I just remember how much I would enjoy buying merch and how much merch I would buy and kind of the importance I put behind it. And then how ultimately a lot of that stuff I didn't end up using perhaps as much as I would like, or later decluttering or donating to like thrift stores and things like that. And this trip, I just had a really different attitude, I think because of where I am in life and then also the work I do here on this channel and talk about on this channel. And I was just a lot more picky and discerning about what I was going to bring home with me from Disney World. And I mean, of course, little Clove here, she came along. But she was only $7, and nothing in Disney is $7 anymore, and that's a big part of this. Disney is so ridiculously expensive. Even like their private labeled gummies that aren't even shaped like Mickey Mouse or anything, but they just, put a character on the packaging and sell like trolley gummy worms. Even those are $8. Like it's nothing is like a fun little grab and I'll just get a keychain. The keychain's more than $10 probably. Like it is hyper expensive and they keep raising prices because people keep, Disney I feel like is probably more popular than ever, right? Or at least has permeated social media culture in like kind of a major way. I think maybe we finally reached like the crest of what Disney can do price wise. It's gotten quite ridiculous over the years. Now I do have a couple of things that I purchased. I did buy this Tower of Terror spirit jersey that I really love, a little oversized spirit jersey. Then I did buy an oversized gray zip-up hoodie with Figment on it. But I did say no to a lot of what I wanted and what I was interested in and what I would maybe enjoy if I had bought. And I realized that a lot of those no's and that kind of overwhelming sense I had while I was in Florida to buy was not local to just Disney World and could probably be applied to beauty and makeup and other things I like to discuss on my channel. So here's a few lessons that I wanted to impart from my little trip to Disney. All right, the first one is just because you love something doesn't mean you need to buy something that is associated with it. This was something that came up for me a lot because I would see things with some of my favorite characters on it, like Figment, which is definitely my Disney World kryptonite at this point. I'm also a big fan of the Disney Ducks, as I've mentioned on this channel. So like Donald, Uncle Scrooge, Huey, Dewey, and Louie. There was a lot of merch, especially with Donald on it, that just wasn't really to my taste and that I didn't like. And even my family would be like, oh, this mug has Donald Duck on it and you love coffee mugs and you love Donald Duck. And I was like, I don't think I need another mug, blah, blah, blah. It happened with Tiana's Bayou Adventure. I really love that ride. I really love Princess and the Frog, but the merch was just not my taste. It was all like really bright blue. I don't really enjoy wearing a bright, true royal blue. Same with Haunted Mansion, actually. I feel like the Haunted Mansion slot kind of got taken by the Tower of Terror spirit jersey, but stuff just wasn't to my taste. And I had this feeling when I was in those associated gift shops that I love this ride and that really should transfer to me bringing something home that is a material representation of this ride. And this really made me think of the makeup as merch point that gets brought up a lot in the type of content I do, which is with the really rapid rise of intellectual property related makeup, really think hard before you buy a makeup product just because you like the IP that the brand has decided to plaster over the product. That's maybe dying down a little bit because I think, what else can we do at this point? But it's a very big part of new releases. Like if you go to a new releases Instagram, a lot of the new releases that aren't maybe more staple or permanent products are these limited edition collections that focus on intellectual properties. Like a lot of Disney makeup, there's a lot of Disney makeup right now. There used to not be a lot of, especially like higher quality brands producing Disney makeup. Now, nearly all of them have done a Disney collection. Notably, this isn't a higher end brand, but ColourPop has done a ton of collabs, a ton of fun ones. Not yet a DuckTales collab, though. All I want is someone to do a freaking DuckTales collab, which I don't even think I'd buy it, but I think it'd be, I would like to see what they would come up with. And not just that, but I, going beyond the makeup as merch kind of philosophical point, I connected this to beauty, too, because a brand that you love can release a product that maybe even does speak to you, or perhaps doesn't speak to you. Just because that brand has released something does not mean you need to buy it. I don't buy everything that Glossier releases. Those eyeshadow sticks looked like garbage, so I did not buy them, just because Glossier had come out with them. I tend to look at their releases a little bit more because I do enjoy the brand, but that doesn't mean I have to buy everything from them. You don't suddenly have to be into spot concealing with a pencil that barely has any product in it just because your favorite British content creator / makeup artist has released a luxury, what did Tom say? Registered trademark pencil. You don't have to force yourself to say, okay, I loved this ride so much, but I don't really want a bright blue spirit jersey. I love this makeup brand so much, but I don't need another dewy foundation, or I don't want another powder blush right now. You can admire something and not buy something related to it. And this feels like a very like uniquely American issue that I'm talking about. I just feel like there is this kind of driving idea in popular culture and just culture that how much you love something is correlated heavily with how much of that thing you have physical objects representing, which is silly even to say, but I do think it's really true. And I think it's something that can force us to buy things that maybe we won't end up using or enjoying, or we bought for reasons that don't serve us. And I think being able to recognize that and say to yourself, okay, do I actually want this, or do I think that my vision of who I am should have this? Do you know what I mean? And it's hard because sometimes it's like, well, I really do love this thing and I also love makeup. So like, why wouldn't I get the Evanescence CD palette is the one I always think of, or Disney Princess Colourpop collection. It's combining two things I really love and it feels like it was made for me. But if you weren't actually going, like if I got the Princess and the Frog ride spirit jersey, and I was like, well, I really love oversized long sleeve t-shirts like this one that I did end up buying. I really love Princess and the Frog. I really love this ride. It definitely is like one of the highlights of the trip for me and will make me think of the trip as riding the ride for the first time. Okay, all signs point to yes. I would have never worn that spirit jersey, even to like bed. Like even like the things I wear to bed, I really like to match my aesthetic. And I mean, yes, like a really dark, grungy spirit jersey or the gray Figment hoodie I bought isn't exactly like the high points of my aesthetic, but it goes with what I know I will wear, right? I would have never worn that bright blue Princess and the Frog shirt. I just wouldn't have. So even though a lot of signs point to that would have been really enjoyable for me, just thinking through it, it wouldn't have gotten the use after I left the park. So I'm really glad I didn't buy it, or a lot of other things. And I think, like I said, that's so easily transferable to makeup, in my opinion. All right, the next one is related, but slightly different. Don't buy things you won't actually use. Oh gosh, Disney is just full of things you can buy that you will not actually use after your trip, especially. To me, a lot of the Disney merch is so park or vacation sensitive. I've definitely fallen into that trap before where I'm like, I would love this and wear this for the week or the few days that I'm here. And then I would get home and I'd be like, well, I guess I'll just like hang it up in my room because I don't want to wear this thing in my day-to-day life. The kind of issue and why I didn't buy a lot of the stuff that I liked or thought was cute was that I maybe go to Disney once a year, but honestly I hadn't been to Disney in like 3 or 4 years before this trip, and I really only go now if my family takes a trip for reasons. The soonest I'll be back is if we do this trip next year, but I could also see it maybe being a couple years of us waiting since it is so expensive right now. Basically be buying these things and I wasn't sure, or I really was pretty sure I wasn't going to use them in my day-to-day life. So examples of these, there's these bags called Loungeflies. And you may have seen them before in other contexts, but they're very, very popular in Disney parks. And they're these little backpacks that make really cute, like park bags. And there's also all this culture in Disney, within Disney World and the other Disney parks, of having like the perfect park bag and packing your park bag correctly, and just the ways, and like, you know, like I'm sure people who are not into makeup are like, why do you people have 10 green blushes? What's wrong with you? But, you know, people like plan their outfits around their Loungeflies or their park bags. And they're really cute backpacks. They are so ridiculously overpriced for what they are. They range from what I saw from like $65-$70 to like over $100. And they don't feel like, they feel somewhat sturdy, but they don't, the material does not feel super luxurious for that price. And I can just see that it's kind of a conundrum because I feel like I would only really use them. And I'm not saying if you wear Loungeflies every day as your daily bag, that's lovely, because I really do think they're cute. Again, I just know myself, and I know the bags I carry on the daily are much more neutral, and they aren't backpacks. I like more of a purse, or like a crossbody bag is much more my vibe, that's neutral and doesn't have like Mickey ears or like character designs on it. I know, like, I see people at work who wear those types of bags on the daily and they look really, really cute. Like, that's not the problem. But for me, I just knew that I would buy this really expensive bag and use it at the parks, and then I guess use it whenever I'm back, which could be years. And that did not seem like a good investment, but they are really cute. There's this one that is rose gold. And it has these like sequins on it that look nice, but like it's $100 bag, which is bananas in my opinion. There's this tweet I think about all the time. And it's basically like trans girls will biohack their entire body and face so much societal crap just to be the most basic girls you have ever met. And that at my core is who I am. At the core, I am so basic. You have no idea. And like all I wanted to do while I was there is buy that rose gold loungefly to make my perk bag, and then buy the matching rose gold Mickey ears, which is another item I want to talk about why I didn't buy, or something I didn't buy, and just be the rose gold basic girl. Because that honestly is who I am. That's my essence. That's why I'm doing all this. So I can be a very basic girl. I'm not like other girls, but I am. I'm so like other girls, besides the whole trans thing. Anyway, so I didn't end up buying a loungefly. And I had this vision of me being all cute and femme, because this is the first time I will say I've been to Disney as a trans person, or like as a person who publicly identifies as trans. And since I've dressed more femme, I'll need to get into that in this video, but that definitely wasn't my favorite aspect of the trip because it was a little difficult to navigate. But I really had this vision of me finally wearing my cute little mini ears and like having those rose gold ears. And I tried them on and like, of course I look cute in them. I look cute and everything. But again, I had the thought of like, okay, I'm like, I will probably not use this loungefly. I cannot see myself carrying rose gold Mickey ear loungefly to work every day, to lug to work. Because also I feel like that bag would deteriorate quite quickly. I especially will not be wearing my rose gold Minnie Mouse ears outside the parks. And I know they're fun for the parks. And again, if you are somebody who goes a lot, or just like you've always wanted a pair of mini ears, you'll put them up in your room, or you know you're going to be back, you get the mini ears because they make you happy. Not saying there's anything wrong with that. I just know myself and how I like to consume non-essential goods now. And that didn't feel like a good buy for me to just buy a set of those ears that I would literally just wear that week. And then of course in my head I'm like, well, I could be Minnie Mouse for Halloween or something, and then maybe. But then it's like, okay, that's one other day of the year. Like I don't need those ears. I don't think I'd be that happy having them in my room. And, you know, maybe if I start going more again, which all signs point to that's not happening, I just didn't want to buy and spend, like, because now, like, the mini ears are, like, $30 plus. I didn't want to spend that kind of money on something I knew would not get the use throughout the rest of my life. The vast majority of my life. And that was true of, like, overly themed merch. And also there was, like, this really cute, like, little, like, I have one that looks like him. My friend got me this. It's like a little vintagey Figment, who I love. And there's this new like trend in Disney. It's a magnetized stuffed animal basically that you can like clip on your shoulder, and they had one for Figment. And it would have been really cute if I carried around Figment around like this all day. But then I would have gone home and oh, sorry, buddy. I already have like 2 stuffed Figments. The other one might be in my other room. And then I have like a Figment like figurine. And I love this guy. I'm very, like my friend was very sweet to find this for me. Because it's like a true, like they sell a version of this in the parks now. That's like a new stuffed animal that's supposed to look vintagey. But like my friend found this one and it's like a true vintagey like Figment. Like I do, like I love him. I didn't need to buy another one just to clip to my shoulder for a week and then come home and it's like, okay, well now you're just, like I'm not, again, although I actually would have been really funny if I'd come into work with my rose gold Disney loungefly, rose gold Mickey ears, and then my little Figment on my shoulder. Like, that would have been a really fun moment. And maybe I should have bought all that stuff just to make that happen. But I'm glad I didn't. Because again, that would have been a week that I would have worn that stuff. And then, you know, for 30 minutes at work. So I could do a little bit. And I love bits, but I'm funny enough that I can just make bits on my own. I don't need stuff for them. This reminded me a lot of how when we consume makeup, like if you've been a makeup hobbyist for a while, you know what works for you and what doesn't for the most part. Like sometimes things surprise you, sometimes new things come along that work for you, your skin changes, blah, blah, blah. That stuff can happen. But like, I know I don't really like liquid blush or bronzer, and I should not buy them anymore. But then you get into Sephora and you're like, ooh, like it swatches so well, and it's from a brand I like, and like maybe this is the one, or like you see an influencer use it and it works really well for them because they like liquid cheek formulas. And you're like, oh my gosh, maybe that's the exception. And we get caught in these context dependent environments, store lighting or influencer pushes. You just know that you will not use that after it's all brand and shiny and new. You know you reach for cream pan bronzers. You know that you like dewy foundations, not matte foundations. And we create exceptions a lot of the times for ourselves so that we can buy things and be a part of things, won't actually use them. And it sucks when you buy something that you don't actually use, because makeup is meant to be worn. Makeup is not, if you enjoy collecting makeup, is always blah blah blah, it's fine, whatever. Caveat, caveat, caveat. Imagine a video without me having to make a caveat or a disclaimer. That'd be nice. But makeup is meant to be worn, not to necessarily be collected, unless that gives you joy, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. All right, I'm sick of this caveat. Let's move on to the next point. The last thing I took away was how important it is to buy things solely, and this is hard to do, but try to buy things where the majority of why you're buying it is because you really want it, independent of everything happening around it. Before I went on this trip, I started to look at more content on social media about Disney World, specifically merch drops, and what was new and like what the merch looked like right now, and if anything I should keep my eye on, I guess. That stuff did not help at all, by the way. It reminded me a lot of short form makeup content. There's a lot of hype, obviously, and then there's also this scarcity mindset that gets created when things do well or sell out or are somewhat hard to find. So I swear, a lot of Disney Parks merch content is just creators being like, oh my god, there's this like Chip and Dale sweatshirt that's been sold out forever, but I heard reports that it's in the Emporium, so we're gonna go find it. Come on, let's go. Ooh, first gotta stop for a Mickey pretzel. You know, it's all that. It's just so much of that content, and then as a result of that shopping experience that you're witnessing that person have, is not about the item, it's about the hunt, honestly. It's about the pursuit of this item and the rush of finding it and finally being able to see it and finally being able to buy it. And I think all of that creates fun content, and you're like, oh, are you gonna find it or not? Is it at the Emporium or not? Where are we going next? Are we going to Sir Mickey's? Who knows? But I don't think that ultimately creates wise decisions when it comes to actually purchasing the thing. And I think we can get in that mindset too of when things are so hyped and they're hard to find, and this forced false scarcity that comes along, it becomes more of, oh, it's a hunt, or it's hard, or it's an adventure to find it. It's not about, well, I actually enjoy this product, or is this product something I will like? Like, do you actually enjoy and want to have in your house this item that you are lusting after, or legitimately, I'm not trying to be sarcastic, do you just enjoy scavenger hunts? You can just do scavenger hunts. I think there's like forums online for like parents who want to, you know, make scavenger hunts for their kids. Or geocaching. That was like a really big thing in 2010. Is geocaching still an option? It's just this odd phenomenon I've noticed in beauty, and I've realized through this Disney trip that it's definitely in Disney too. And I think other just niche purchasing communities, we assign importance to items not on how good they are, let's say, or how special they are, but because of how scarce they are. And that's like the number one deciding factor. And if a product is viral or if a product is popular, is if it is hard to find, which I think is also why you see these brands do these ridiculous marketing pushes of, this has been sold out 1,000,000 times. So many people haven't been able to find it. You can find it right now, though. And that will make you different. And first of all, it doesn't make you different because they're telling everyone that. I hate to tell you. They're like half the guys I'm seeing. But it's also not going to make you happy to then buy that thing, because all of that rush is in the buying experience and not in the actually using or enjoying experience. And I've mentioned this before on my channel, but I think it's an important thing to remember. Shopping is not gambling. Shopping, it should not give you a rush. Like, yes, retail therapy can help sometimes, and there's something like a good trip to the mall with a friend. But that's because going to with your friend to places is fun. It's not like I had a great trip to the mall with Tom, and I don't think either of us really bought that many things. I don't even know if Tom bought anything. I know I bought something, but we just were shooting the shit and walking around and going to stores and commenting on things. There's just so much to, again, Disney and also beauty now that relies on that rush and that creating a sense of like gambling or like playing a game. And I just feel like shopping can get really dangerous when it becomes about that kind of heightened moment or emotion it can create, instead of honestly making it a lot less sexy and being like, do I want that thing in my house? Which is a lot less fun, I know, but I think it creates better buying habits and is a better way to view the shopping process and experience. And those are kind of the lessons and kind of the things I was thinking about while I was in Disney when it comes to mindful consumption, and how all of that I think relates to makeup too, and what, I'm doing on my channel. So I hope y'all enjoyed this. I hope even if you aren't a Disney person, that you took something from this video. It was a fun one to make. I don't know. It's like fun to like pull other things besides makeup into makeup. And yeah, like none of this is isolated, right? Like we all are in, we're all in this world. For better or for worse. But hey, better, right? Right? Let me know if y'all enjoyed it. I haven't pitched my channel yet, but I do a lot of this type of content about conscious consumption and mindful consumerism and what that looks like for me and what it could maybe look like for you. If you did enjoy this, go ahead and subscribe. Give this video a like. Helps me a lot in the wild, wild west of the YouTube algorithm. And yeah, I really appreciate y'all being here. We're gonna be okay. Bye, y'all.